thought, well, I got some cash. When
Right.
you get to New York,
That doesn't last long.
I mean, 3 months later, I was out of my cash. I called my mother and I asked her
Yeah.
to send me some money, and she said no.
You ended up in a homeless shelter at some point.
Yeah, I was.
They had it all: fame, fortune, and the life of multi-millionaires. But what happens when the spotlight fades and wrong choices are made? In this video, we'll uncover the shocking stories of once famous celebrities who lost everything and ended up homeless. From iconic stars who ruled Hollywood to musicians and athletes at the top of their game, their dramatic falls from grace will leave you stunned. How did they go from luxury mansions to living on the streets? Was it addiction, poor financial decisions, or something far darker? As the cheerful Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, Erin Moran became a household name by the age of 14. Loved by audiences, she was riding high on the wave of success throughout the show's run. Yet, as her Hollywood career dwindled, Erin faced significant financial difficulties. In 2010, she lost her California home to foreclosure and moved into a trailer home with her husband and his mother. After a dispute with her mother-in-law, Erin was kicked out, leaving her homeless and bouncing between motels. Her tragic story came to a heartbreaking end in 2017, when she passed away in poverty after battling health issues and addiction. It was a devastating fall for someone who had once been America's sweetheart. Margot Kidder soared to international fame as Lois Lane in the Superman films, starring opposite Christopher Reeve. Her charisma and talent made her one of Hollywood's most beloved stars in the late 70s and 80s. But behind the scenes, Margot's battles with bipolar disorder took an immense toll on her life. In 1996, Margot suffered a manic episode that left her wandering the streets of Los Angeles, homeless. Found living in cardboard boxes and backyards, she was unrecognizable, her teeth damaged, her hair hacked unevenly, and her mental state deeply fragile. What shocked the world was how quickly someone so talented and successful could fall into such despair. Thankfully, Margot later sought treatment and became an advocate for mental health, famously stating, "We are all a breath away from mental illness or homelessness." Dana Plato, the teenage star of the hit sitcom Different Strokes, captivated audiences with her performances as Kimberly Drummond. But behind the charming on-screen persona, Dana faced private struggles with drug addiction that would ultimately derail her life. After the show's end, she spiraled into legal troubles, including forging prescriptions and even robbing a video store. With her career in tatters, Dana found herself homeless, living out of motels. Her financial difficulties and battles with addiction tragically culminated in 1999, when she was found dead from a drug overdose, ruled as a suicide. Dana's fall from grace remains a chilling reminder of the pressures child actors often endure. In the world of fitness modeling, Lonnie Willison was a star. Her features graced magazine covers, and her life seemed picture-perfect, especially after marrying Baywatch star Jeremy Jackson. But beneath the surface, Lonnie battled addiction and severe mental health issues. After a tumultuous and reportedly violent marriage, Lonnie developed a meth addiction that led her down a path of homelessness. She refused help from friends and family, claiming she couldn't live indoors due to being electrocuted by electricity. Now she is often spotted on the streets of Venice Beach, pushing a shopping cart. Her story is one of the most shocking, as someone who seemingly had it all now struggles to survive each day. Natasha Lyonne was one of Hollywood's rising stars in the late 90s, recognized for her roles in American Pie and But I'm a Cheerleader. However, behind her public success, Natasha was grappling with addiction. By the early 2000s, she was homeless, living on the streets and suffering from severe health issues, including hepatitis C, a collapsed lung, and a heart infection. Her condition became so dire that she was hospitalized in 2005. Natasha eventually turned her life around, taking her experiences with homelessness and addiction and using them as fuel for her creative work. Today, she's celebrated for her success with the Netflix hit Russian Doll. These stories might seem worlds apart, but one theme unites them: how quickly life in the spotlight can crumble when mental health struggles, addiction, or bad luck take hold. For some, their downfall left them hopeless. For others, it was the beginning of a slow, hard climb back to stability. Fame and fortune might seem like the ultimate goal, but managing millions can be just as difficult as earning them. For some stars, a combination of reckless spending, poor financial decisions, and career missteps left them with nothing but regret. In the 1990s, MC Hammer was a hip-hop sensation, dominating charts with his iconic hit "You Can't Touch This" and electrifying dance moves. At the height of his fame, his fortune grew to over $30 million, which he poured into a 40,000 square foot mansion, 17 luxury cars, private jets, helicopters, and even racehorses. But behind the flashy lifestyle, Hammer was overspending at an unimaginable rate, hiring over 200 employees and shelling out millions on renovations alone. By the mid-1990s, music trends shifted, his popularity waned, and his income couldn't keep up with his spending. Hammer eventually filed for bankruptcy in 1996, owing a staggering $13 million, including $800,000 in unpaid taxes. At his lowest point, he was forced to sell nearly everything, and it took him years to rebuild his life. Today, he lives more modestly and works to stay financially stable, but his story serves as a stark warning about the perils of excess. Once a Hollywood heartthrob, Jan Michael Vincent captivated audiences in the 1980s action series Airwolf. With his good looks and talent, he seemed destined for a long-lasting career. However, his life began to unravel due to alcoholism, drug addiction, and violent behavior. Vincent's extravagant lifestyle, paired with his destructive habits, drained his fortune. Legal troubles and multiple arrests for drug and alcohol-related offenses cemented his downfall. By the 2000s, Jan Michael had lost almost everything, including his health. A series of drunk driving accidents left him with permanent injuries, and his leg was ultimately amputated due to complications caused by his reckless behavior. Once worth millions, Vincent spent his later years isolated and penniless, living in rural Mississippi before passing away in 2019. An NBA legend and the former captain of the New York Knicks, Sugar Ray Williams epitomized success on the court. Throughout his career in the late 1970s and 1980s, he earned millions, playing for high-profile teams like the Boston Celtics. But after retiring, Williams fell into financial ruin. Unlike many tragic stories, Sugar Ray's shocking downfall was not due to gambling or addiction, but rather poor financial decisions and bad luck. He struggled to transition to life outside of basketball, and mounting debts eventually forced him to file for bankruptcy. By 2010, he was homeless, living out of his Buick in Pompano Beach, Florida. Sugar Ray expressed frustration with the NBA, claiming there was little support for retired players. His story is a harsh reality of how many athletes, even without destructive habits, can fall into financial despair. Tragically, Sugar Ray passed away in 2013 from colon cancer. In the 1980s, Willie Ames was a television star, beloved for his roles in 8 is Enough and Charles in Charge. At his peak, he was earning over $1 million per year, more than enough to secure a lifetime of comfort. But Ames lived beyond his means, spending excessively and failing to save for the future. When the acting roles dried up, Willie's financial troubles began to mount. He lost his wife, his home, and his career all at once. By the early 2000s, he was homeless, sleeping under bushes, inside parking garages, and in parks. At one point, he couldn't even afford food, let alone housing. Reflecting on his experience, Willie said, "I never thought it could happen that fast." Fortunately, Willie Ames eventually rebuilt his life. He became a financial advisor, using his painful personal experiences to help others avoid the same mistakes. Today, he has returned to acting and lives a stable life, but his story remains a sobering lesson about the dangers of financial mismanagement. Nicknamed The Blade for his sharp boxing skills, Iran Barkley was once one of the most successful boxers of his time, earning over $5 million during his career in the 1980s and early 1990s. Despite his success in the ring, his habit of reckless spending and poor financial planning led to his downfall. After retiring from boxing, Barkley couldn't secure stable employment and burned through his savings. By the 2000s, he was homeless, sleeping on subway cars and spending his days at a local shelter in the Bronx. Iran's plight caught the attention of non-profit organizations like Bronx Works, who helped him find housing and rebuild his life. His story highlights the vulnerability of athletes who fail to plan for life after sports. These stars lived at the top of their game, only to see their riches vanish due to extravagance, poor planning, or sheer bad luck. The alluring world of fame often comes with shadows, none darker than the devastating hold of addiction. For these celebrities, substance abuse not only destroyed their careers and relationships, but also stripped them of the stability and safety most people take for granted. Once the golden boy of the 1970s, Leif Garrett rose to fame as a teen idol with his boyish charm and musical hits. He was adored by millions, but behind the glossy image was a young star battling internal demons. At just 14, he began experimenting with drugs, and by 17, he was spiraling out of control. In 1979, Garrett was involved in a catastrophic car crash while under the influence, leaving his passenger and close friend paralyzed. This tragedy marked the beginning of his long struggle with substance abuse. Leaf eventually declared bankruptcy, his fortune drained, and faced multiple arrests for drug possession. At his lowest point, he was homeless, living on the streets, and rumors circulated that he was spotted sleeping under a bridge. Garrett's battle with addiction serves as one of the most heartbreaking examples of how quickly fame can fade when addiction takes hold. A country music star with a voice as powerful as her troubled story, Mindy McCready burst onto the scene in the 1990s with hits like 10,000 Angels. But while her career was soaring, her personal life was falling apart. Mindy struggled with addiction, toxic relationships, and mental health issues, all of which eventually led to her being sent to court-mandated rehab. In 2013, not long after her boyfriend's death, McCready's battle with addiction and depression reached a tragic end. She took her own life at the age of 37 in the very home where her boyfriend had died. Her family later revealed that McCready had spent her final months battling homelessness and isolation. Her story underscores the dark side of fame and the silent struggles that even commercial success cannot fix. Bobby Driscoll was one of the first stars to experience the darker side of Hollywood. As a child actor, he earned critical acclaim for his roles in Disney classics like Peter Pan and Treasure Island, even winning an Academy Award in the 1950s. But as the spotlight dimmed, Bobby faced rejection in the industry and turned to drugs to escape the pain. After serving time in prison for drug-related offenses, Driscoll's life spiraled further into chaos. Homeless and estranged from his family, he was found dead in an abandoned building in New York's East Village in 1968. His cause of death attributed to heart failure brought on by long-term drug abuse. Tragically, his body went unidentified for over a year and was buried in an unmarked grave. Once a bright star, Driscoll's lonely end highlights the unforgiving nature of both addiction and Hollywood. In the 1987 romantic comedy Can't Buy Me Love, Amanda Peterson captured hearts as the charming and confident Cindy Mancini, but after stepping away from the industry in the 1990s, Amanda struggled with personal demons, including mental health challenges and a growing dependence on drugs. Her life took a steep downward turn, eventually leading to homelessness and isolation. In 2015, Amanda was found dead from an accidental drug overdose in her apartment. The toxicology report revealed a mix of prescription and illegal substances. Her story is a haunting reminder of how fame can fade, leaving individuals to face their struggles alone. Though Amanda's career was short-lived, the emotional weight of her tragic end left a lasting impact. Addiction is often called an equalizer. It does not discriminate between fame and obscurity, wealth and poverty. For these stars, the cost of their battles with addiction was everything: their careers, families, health, and, in many cases, their lives. Not every story of fame ending in tragedy stays that way. Some celebrities have managed to rebuild their lives and find success on their own terms. Brett Butler was a Golden Globe-nominated actress who won hearts in the 1990s with her hit sitcom Grace Under Fire. However, during the show's run, Brett struggled with addiction, which led to her being fired. After her career crumbled, she lost everything, even becoming homeless and living in a shelter. But Brett refused to let her struggles define her. She made a comeback by returning to stand-up comedy, where her sharp wit continued to shine. In recent years, she has had roles in hit shows like The Walking Dead and Shameless, slowly re-establishing herself in Hollywood. Brett's story is a testament to resilience and the power of never giving up, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As mentioned earlier, Natasha Lyonne's story is one of redemption and reinvention. After skyrocketing to fame in the late 1990s with roles in American Pie and But I'm a Cheerleader, her life spiraled into chaos due to addiction. She battled health issues, arrests, and homelessness, hitting what she described as the lowest point of her life. However, Natasha turned her life around with the help of rehabilitation and therapy. Drawing from her experiences, she used her creativity to produce and star in Netflix's critically acclaimed series Russian Doll, which earned her Emmy nominations. Natasha's career revival didn't stop there. She continued to star in hit projects like Poker Face, showcasing her incredible talent. Her story exemplifies how facing your demons can lead to an even greater version of yourself. Willie Aamers's fall from stardom was as heartbreaking as it was fast. Once a star of 8 is enough and Charles in charge, Willie found himself homeless and living under bushes after financial collapse and personal struggles. But even when he had nothing, Willie held on to hope. he decided to change his life, working tirelessly to become a certified financial advisor, following his first-hand experience with bankruptcy and homelessness. Willie not only rebuilt his life financially, but also found his way back into acting. He used his journey to inspire others, proving that it's never too late to turn things around. Today, Willie splits his time between acting, filmmaking, and helping others with financial literacy. These hopeful comebacks remind us that no matter how grim the circumstances, change is always possible. For Brett, Natasha, and Willie, rising from the ashes of their lowest moments is not only a testament to their resilience, but also an inspiration to anyone facing adversity. Next, we'll revisit the lessons learned from these stories and touch on the tragic endings that some could not escape from. Marvin Gaye was a musical legend, producing timeless hits like What's Going On and Sexual Healing. But behind the soulful melodies was a man battling addiction, financial troubles, and a strained relationship with his father. Despite his fame, he became financially unstable and moved back home with his parents. On April 1st, 1984, during a heated argument, Marvin's father tragically shot and killed him just a day before his 45th birthday. His death shocked the world, reminding us how unresolved family conflict and addiction can lead to devastating consequences. Marvin's legacy endures through his music, but his untimely demise shows how even fame and fortune can't shield someone from personal turmoil. David Cassidy captured hearts as a teen idol and star of the Partridge Family, but his life was plagued by addiction and personal struggles. As his fame faded, David faced financial ruin and multiple arrests for DUIs. His battle with alcoholism grew worse, leaving him estranged from his family and nearing homelessness. David publicly admitted to his addiction, but tragically, his health had already deteriorated. He passed away in 2017 from liver failure caused by years of alcohol abuse. David's story underscores the importance of addressing addiction early and the devastating toll it can take if left unchecked. As we close, these stories serve as a reminder of the stark realities of fame and its fragility. They reveal the pressures that come with life in the spotlight and the struggles that can lie beneath the surface. While some found redemption, others left us with heartbreak and lessons that should never be forgotten.